Welcome to my show for 2008. I am painting in some themes that I've been pursuing at least since 2004, 2005. I'd like to start off with these three pieces that you're now looking at. These three pieces were started off as quotations of art historical portraits. This was originally a Dutch piece painted by Thomas de Keyser, and what I've done in this sort of subset body of work is to replicate the background as closely as possible and then find some birds and position the birds so that they are mimicking the poses and even the emotions of the original people who were in the portrait. In this case, I've actually chosen some birds that are now extinct, but that had been living at the time that these people were alive. I try to keep the negative spaces surrounding the figure as close to as it in the original piece as possible. When I paint the eye expressions and the sort of body language of the birds, I also try to be fairly similar to the original people. Here, this was a painting that was initially attributed to Jan Victors. It was painted in the 1640s at some point, and here I have put the dodo bird into the painting, and the dodo was last seen in the 1680s sometime. The woman who was in the work had a very dark gown that was fading into this dark background as the piece moved into the lower right corner. There were also three hot spots of light. There was this triple light effect, and bing, bing, bing. So when I was positioning the dodo, I wanted to echo that same light. This painting here, I started off with the same idea of wanting to remove the people that were in the portrait and substitute with birds. In this case, it was a Raphael Madonna piece. There was a very large Madonna here with a Christ child and an angel. And I was thinking about doing a grouping of birds, but instead, I just replicated Raphael here, going up over into here. Here it's different, and of course all of this is fabricated on my part. These are sandhill cranes. This piece also has some art historical references. These three panels were inspired by a piece that I saw. It was an Italian 18th century bureau that had little doors that would open up like this, and in the original it was inlaid stone. And here I've of course done the painting. These are after James Audubon, and these small pictures here inspire the title of the painting. These were a book that came from Germany in 1937 with little illustrations that were found in cigarette and cigar packages that were full color illustrations of the birds from Germany. This gesture, this raven, was taken from a 17th century Chinese silk needle painting. Including in the show, I've done many about my own family history and also commissioned works for other people. In this particular series, I had bought this photo album at an antique shop that had this family's whole family history, and I've generated at this point 45 paintings based on that family album. The structure of this painting was taken actually from the layout of a oriental rug with three pictorial panels in the middle, and then with the little side stories. What I'm hoping in a piece like this is that there are going to be many many narrative pieces, so that the viewer might start endlessly connecting the different images to one another, trying to decode some kind of a story. Of course, I enjoy not including that, giving them too many clues as to what that story might be. Kind of a looser structure. There's a sense of a diptych here. There's an art historical reference from an old Celtic devotional piece. These are reversal images from the portrait photographer Nadar. And this is a scene from the 1930s in what had then been called Danzig, and that ties in a little bit with my own family history. Many different narrative pieces that perhaps the viewer will start linking the stories together. The style of frame is very important to me. I like to have a very good marriage between the image and the frame. I spend quite a lot of time thinking about that, and also frame hunting. These two pieces actually are fairly interesting because I decided with these to actually pull a formal element from the frame and incorporate it into the piece. Loved this frame when I found it, and I had sort of trompe-l'oeil effects here with these painted nails that echo the nails that are attaching the metal element to the wood, and then here painting sort of a wood surface. I was enjoying on First Thursday people coming up and running their finger across this and to see if it was real. And of course I didn't want them to touch the work, but it was humorous nonetheless. And then here this sort of folk oriented frame, pulling this design in and reversing the black and gold and including that as the back piece to this painting. This piece is called Bolton's thrush. It's a type of thrush that I only found the Latin name for, and it was extinct. And the Bolton name comes from the illustrator from the 1800s whose engraving helped inspire the pose, and then I took some liberty with that. This piece over here also is a South American bird, a pitta, which is now extinct, and I call this Jardin's pitta in homage to the 18th century engraver who had supplied the original image for that. I was delighted to discover this set of two frames, which are remakes of some historical frames. They're quite Baroque, and they were just perfect for this reworking of some Dutch master portraiture. This one was a particularly fun find. I like to go to estate sales, and this frame I found, it was above a mantle, and it had a very poorly executed paint by numbers painting, and the estate sale people were, I think, trying to shove it off on some sucker, and it was for only $35, this frame. And I looked at that frame and said, that would cost over $300. I like for there to be an experience with the piece as you move up close and you see all this layering. Have this crackle effect in a couple of places. I'll show it to you in two paintings. Basically, you can achieve that crackle effect whenever you put a faster drying paint on top of a slower drying paint. In this case, I did some underpainting in tempera, and then came over the top of it with an acrylic paint. The acrylic reconstituted the moisture in the tempera, and at the same time the acrylic dried, and then it cracked because you had the slower drying. In this particular body, I'm painting in acrylic. Here's another example of the crackle effect, and this one I simply got at a craft store. It's a two-step medium, and so I put an underpainting down, put the first crackle effect on, let that dry, and then I mixed the second medium in with the green paint in the overpainting, and as that dried, it started to crack. When you put the two media on thicker, you get these thicker cracks, and then where it gets thinner, where you apply it thinner, it thins out. So I wanted to have it be sort of thinner over in the negative space of the work.